mother told me someday I will buy Valheim the Viking sim, sail to distant plains, getting fucked by mosquitoes. Ouch, Minnie, ouch, man. Ouch, Minnie, ouch, man. Valheim is all I've ever wanted in a Viking game. It has some proper Norse mythology, twisted in a way to make the game fun. Where basically you died in a battle and this Valkyrie plucked your corpse up from it and dropped you into Valheim, the land before Valhalla, where you must fight your way through and conquer Valheim to become Odin's champion. Welcome back, gaming gurus, to my channel. You find yourself here once again seeking entertainment, controversial opinions, and good times. Today's episode will be covering Valheim, this amazing little Viking simulator game. So a little known thing about me, or maybe not, but I actually really like Viking and pirate-based games. I don't know why, they've just always seemed badass to me. But there wasn't ever really a great Viking game to play in my opinion. Many of them were Midgard tier at best. But I was looking for Odin's Hall tier stuff, and I found that with Valheim. I've played just about 50 hours of Valheim, and I can confidently say that I've enjoyed every bit. Though I haven't gotten too far into the game. I like taking my time and building, so I've gone as far as the plains biome, but I've spent very little time there. Just like the intro to this video, as I so elegantly retold in song, the plains greets you with mosquitoes and you will know pain, so I avoid it. Let's jump right into it and start off. I want to go over the amazing stylistic artwork they decided to go with. The game's character models, from an outside perspective, may remind you of the original Final Fantasy VII, where you look like a polygon pinball, but I assure you the Valheim look actually fits in quite nicely. The game is beautiful, but not in the traditional way of, damn, this looks realistic, but rather it's beautiful in a way that it is stylistically designed. The first thing that took me aback was how each biome has its own distinct atmosphere and color schemes. You can distinctly tell what biome you're in, yet they still blend together with one another nicely. Also, the way they did the wind, where it will actually be visible sometimes, is quite aesthetically pleasing. I love seeing the little wind streaks. Stylized graphics usually beat out super high quality realistic graphics for me in most cases, and this is most definitely one of those. Anyways, enough about art, let's talk about the music.
But broken staff, music is still technically a form of art.
Shut up, nerd. I said what I said. Valheim has some of the most immersive ass music to ever grace my ears. Here's a fun tidbit. The dev team actually hired out for musicians to play the soundtrack. So when you hear that clarinet melody while wandering through the meadows, that is played by a real artist instead of being synthesized by a computer, and it really shows. The emotion put into the music is unmatched, truly. You can feel the passion put into each note. Each biome has its own melody that draws you into it, whether it's the peaceful clarinet of the meadows where you're to feel safe, or the deep humming violins of the Black Forest, where when you go to mine that first copper or tin vein, you realize your pickaxe swings and beat to the deep violins, making you feel like some sort of prisoner to the forest. This all contrasts heavily with the guttural metal riffs of the guitar when you first decide to try your hand at slaying one of the mighty bosses in the Valheim world, the Eicathir. This giant heavy metal lightning Bambi that wants to run your pockets. And if you manage past that, you are greeted only by the Elder, this giant treant who wants nothing more than for you to be squished to fertilizer under his roots. His theme representing the end of the tutorial and the start of the real game, as you realized all you've faced until now is easy in comparison. The music takes this game from a solid 6 to a 9 in my opinion. This isn't to say the gameplay is bad by any means though. It's really hard to be mad at a game that finally tackles the question of, hey, where's that fire ventilating all its hazardous CO2 at? Right into your fucking Viking lungs is where, lest you forget a chimney. As I previously mentioned, I have quite enjoyed the building in this game. I spent probably a solid 40 hours out of my 50 just building, gathering said building materials. It's quite an enjoyable system in my opinion. Although you can't build most things in the game without progressing through the game and killing the bosses, such as needing to beat the Eicathir to get the pickaxe and subsequently to be able to build stone structures. But this gives you a reason to go out and properly explore, like finding a new resource in Minecraft. It's the same style except you beat bosses to do it usually. The combat to me is quite satisfying as well, with the guard break and parry mechanics causing a critical hit afterwards, which I dare say is one of the most satisfying things ever. That sound is like, ah. And just like on Twitter, once you start parrying trolls and other big things, the game starts to become much easier. There's quite a nice bit of armor and weapon type variety, biomes to explore, oceans to sail, things to slay, and structures to erect. Valheim really draws me in and immerses me as I'm able to play for hours just listening to the soundtrack and building or fishing or even just harvesting trees for hours. And that's not something that many games can say they can accomplish. I love Valheim and I find it very impressive that it was made by an 11-man development team. This game lets you not only loosely explore some Norse mythology but also keeps the old Viking culture alive and well. It's another example of a small indie team outperforming AAA titles in my opinion. The passion that indie development teams can put into their projects usually trumps AAA titles, despite having a smaller budget. I feel like smaller dev teams get more creative with what budget they are given. We see this example in games like Octopath Traveler, for instance. That's a AA game, I believe. We have Stardew Valley was AA. Hollow Knight, that's probably the best example. That game wasn't AAA and that game is absolutely stunning. Anyways, I digress. Thank you for watching as always. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing for more content like this. I really love making content and would love for you to join the gaming gurus, pushing positivity, starting mind-scratching conversations, and having a good old fun time. Oh, and if you want to get uploads early, my whole upload schedule, personally talk with me about anything, as well as future access to the Discord, then consider subscribing to my Patreon to help support me in my content creation journey, link in the description below. And with that, catch you in the next video. And in case you missed it, here's a previous awesome upload I'm sure you will enjoy.